terms of one thing that surprised me, there was actually quite a creative solution to how medical examinations were completed. And this example comes to us from the UK. And once the lockdowns were eased enough so that people could actually have medical exams completed, there still was a lot of hesitancy on clients in actually having these exams done for obvious reasons. So one of the solutions in the UK market was actually to use the BP cuffs and the machines that were used to take blood pressure. They were actually given to the client so that those tools became single use. In terms of no surprise, that really was the move to more digital applications and solutions. And this was throughout the world, not just in any one particular market. It's a little bit of both. So there were some things that were done from an underwriting perspective that were accommodations that were really temporary. And there were some things that have also really changed completely. So let me give you some examples. Many markets did make interim changes, and these things were things like using existing health screening exams instead of current insurance exams, or they extended the validity period of medical evidence. Insurers in the Canadian market did increase their non-medical limits. This was originally started as an accommodation, but it has really become the new normal in the Canadian market itself. In Singapore, for example, the government previously didn't allow for digital signatures on digital applications for insurance. But during the height of the pandemic, this was actually changed. This regulation has now been modified to allow digital signatures. And this is a permanent change. And the third example really is on international high net worth. And this is typically where clients will fly from their home country to buy an international product in another country. But of course, with borders closed, people are not able to fly to buy. So the business processes really were changed to allow for underwriting evidence to be collected in the applicant's home country and for the application to be completed remotely. And we see this as sort of a permanent change in this market as well. In the US market in particular, the use of e-health records or electronic health records has just been started to be used, and the pandemic really has fast-tracked this new tool quite significantly. Now, it is driving the industry to use electronic health records much more than previously, and it's driving underwriters to make decisions using that information where they may not have been as comfortable with this new type of information as with traditional underwriting evidence. And the other example in the US market really is around accelerated underwriting and simplified underwriting programs. So accelerated underwriting is where alternative information, data, is used in lieu of traditional underwriting evidence. And simplified underwriting programs are where more limited information is collected and typically not any traditional underwriting evidence. So both these accelerated underwriting programs and simplified underwriting programs have been considered sort of special programs up to the pandemic. That's no longer the case. These two are now really considered business as usual in the US underwriting market in particular. So I think one of the things that has made some companies particularly successful, and I'm looking here not just through sort of the height of the pandemic, but even navigating as things started to open up, companies that were prepared, and those were companies that already had a percentage of their underwriting workforce already working remotely. These companies had a real head start in immediately moving to remote workforce and keeping all of their existing business up and running. the companies that have been the most successful through the whole transition are the companies that have been thinking ahead. Well, the pandemic really has potentially exacerbated a resourcing issue with respect to underwriting. Some companies, these would be companies, for example, in the US or even Latin America, because their new business volumes had significantly reduced, they actually started to reduce some of their headcount in underwriting a new business. And now, as business is starting to go back up again, they don't have the people and the trained underwriters to actually handle the volume of work that's coming in. So the thought has been, as companies move to digital and more of the actual underwriting process is taken over by underwriting systems, do you really need your underwriters? But the answer really is yes, you do. You still need the underwriting expertise to monitor the electronic applications as they come in and the performance of the block of business in terms of what the electronic systems are allowing through. You still need to be able to sell a decision and to help explain why a decision was made, or somebody is going to have to handle an appeal as well. And now layer on top of this the ability to work anywhere. It really is creating a real challenge for companies to think about how to resource for this particular role. I think it's creating really a turning point for underwriters, and that we are we may become less back office and much more sort of strategic or risk management in terms of the role. So I really think it's a very short answer, and it's three things. First one is flexibility. Second one is creativity. And the third one is preparedness. That's really what's needed. And I can't really expound on it. Those are the three key things that it's taught the industry.
RGA, the security of experience, the power of innovation.